The antiseptic smell should have stayed at St. Mary's, locked away with my nursing scrubs and the life I'd abandoned. But as I balanced the silver coffee tray in Kevin Roper's library, that clinical scent clung to my memory like a ghost. The mansion absorbed sound the way expensive things do. Thick carpets, heavy drapes, walls that had learned to keep secrets. I moved through it like smoke, invisible by design. 5 months as a maid in this fortress, and I'd perfected the art of not being seen. I wasn't supposed to be serving the library today. If you're enjoying this story, please like and subscribe. Your support helps me bring you more stories. Now, back to that moment that changed everything. Maria usually handled Mr. Roper's private meetings, but she'd gone home with the flu, and Mrs. Chen had sent me instead. My hands were steady as I pushed open the heavy door, though my heart knew better. Kevin Roper's world wasn't one you entered casually. The library stretched 2 stories high, lined with books that probably cost more than I'd earn in a lifetime. Leather chairs, a fireplace that could swallow a person whole, and 2 men. Kevin at his desk, dark hair catching the lamplight, tattoos visible even beneath his rolled shirt sleeves. Across from him, Dmitry Volkov sprawled in a chair like he owned the room, vodka glass dangling from thick fingers. I'd learned to read the temperature of a room in trauma bays, the charged air before violence, the electricity of barely contained rage. But I'd stopped trusting my instincts the day I fled my old life. So I ignored the warning prickling down my spine. "Coffee, gentlemen," I said quietly, setting the tray on the side table. Kevin's eyes flicked to me, dark and assessing, then away. Dismissal. I was furniture to him. If Dimitri's gaze was different. Hungry. "You're new," he said in accented English, not bothering to look at Kevin. "Pretty thing for a maid." Kept my eyes down. "Will there be anything else, Mr. Roper?" "No. Thank you, Elsa." I turned to leave. The door was 10 feet away. Safety was 10 feet away. Dimitri's hand caught my wrist. "Not so fast, Milaya." The world contracted to that point of contact. His fingers too tight, pulling me back. My training screamed at me. Assess the injury, evaluate the threat, create distance. But my body betrayed me, freezing the way it always did now. The way it hadn't when I was Nurse Delgado, before everything shattered. "Dimitri." Kevin's voice, low and controlled. A warning. "Relax, Kevin. I just want her to pour my coffee. You don't mind, do you, Krasotka?" His other hand gripped my hip, fingers digging in with casual cruelty. The coffee tray clattered from my nerveless hands. Porcelain exploded across marble. Hot liquid splashed my shoes, my stockings, but I barely felt it because his hand was sliding higher, because I couldn't breathe, because the library was dissolving into another room, another man, another time I couldn't fight back. "Let her go." I'd heard Kevin Roper speak many times. Polite directions to staff. Cold commands to his men. But I'd never heard this. A voice stripped of everything except lethal intent. Dimitri laughed. "You're joking. She's a maid, Kevin. You have a dozen." The sound of Kevin's chair scraping back cut through my paralysis. I didn't see him move. One moment he was behind his desk. The next, Dimitri's hand was gone, and I was stumbling backward, gasping, as Kevin positioned himself between us like a wall made of controlled violence. "Get out!" Each word fell like a guillotine blade. "Before I forget, we have history." Dimitri stood slowly, straightening his jacket. His smile never reached his eyes. "You're making a mistake over a servant. The Volkovs will remember this. Get out." The door slammed. Silence rushed in to fill the space Dimitri left behind, thick and suffocating. I stood there, trembling, coffee spreading in a dark stain across marble that probably cost more than my yearly salary. My ribs throbbed where his fingers had dug in. Old bruises learning new pain. Kevin turned to face me. I'd seen dangerous men before. I'd treated them in emergency rooms, stitched their knife wounds, tried to save them when bullets found home. But Kevin Roper was different. He didn't look dangerous. He looked like danger itself had learned to wear a suit. "Are you hurt?" His voice had gentled, but something dark still swam beneath it. I shook my head. Followed. "I'm sorry about the coffee. I'll clean." "Elsa." He stepped closer. I didn't step back, though everything in me screamed to run. "Look at me." I raised my eyes. His face was all sharp angles and controlled fury, but his eyes held something I couldn't name. Something that terrified me more than Dimitri's hands ever could. "Who touched you?" 3 words. Simple question. I opened my mouth, closed it. Because how could I answer? Which touch was he asking about? Dimitri's just now. The one that put those shadows in my eyes. The reason I fled nursing. The reason I was here wearing a maid's uniform like armor. "It's fine," I whispered. "I'm fine." He studied my face the way I used to study patient charts, reading every sign, every symptom, cataloging the evidence of trauma. His hand rose and I flinched. Hated myself for flinching. But he only gestured to the chair Dimitri had vacated. "Sit. Mr. Roper, I need to. Sit star. Sep." He moved to the sideboard, poured something amber into a crystal glass, and set it in front of me. Then he pulled out his phone. "Marcus. Locked down St. Catherine's. Every entrance, every exit. Yes now. Then Mercy General. Then Presbyterian." His voice was clinical, methodical. "I want lists of every patient admitted in the last 2 hours. Every staff member on duty. Security footage from every camera within 3 blocks." My blood turned to ice. "Mr. Roper." He held up one finger, still talking. "Trinity Medical. Sacred Heart. All of them, Marcus. Every hospital in this city. I want them locked down within the hour. I don't care what it costs. Do it." He pocketed the phone and turned back to me. Outside, rain had started, drops tapping against the windows like fingernails seeking entry. In the firelight, Kevin's tattoos seemed to move, shadow and ink merging. "Now," he said, settling into the chair across from me, close enough that I could see the scar cutting through his eyebrow, the dangerous calm in his dark eyes. "Let's try this again, Elsa. And this time I want the truth." He leaned forward, forearms on his knees, and his voice dropped to something almost gentle. "Almost. Oh. You." I stared at him. At this man who controlled half the city's criminal enterprises. Who just ordered a hospital lockdown with the same ease most people ordered coffee. The glass of whiskey sat untouched between us, amber liquid catching the firelight. "I don't understand." My voice sounded distant, clinical. The nurse in me trying to stabilize the situation. "Why would you lock down the hospitals?" "Because someone hurt you." He said it like it was obvious. Like it was the only logical response. "The bruising on your ribs, it's fresh. The way you moved when you walked in. I noticed." Course he noticed. Men like Kevin Roper survived by noticing everything. "That was Dimitri. Just now. You saw." "No." He cut me off, his gaze unwavering. "Those marks are at least a week old. Maybe 2. Someone else put their hands on you before today. And I'm going to find out who." The room tilted. He'd been watching me. Cataloging my injuries the way I used to catalog traumas in the ER. paying attention to the invisible maid who cleaned his mansion. The hospitals, I breathed, understanding hitting me like a physical blow. You think I was treated at one of them? Were you? Silence stretched between us, broken only by the rain and the crackle of the fire. Could lie. Should lie. But Kevin Roper wasn't a man who tolerated lies, and something in his eyes told me he'd already guessed the truth. Why do you care? The question escaped before I could stop it. I'm just a maid. Something flickered across his face. Anger, maybe, or something darker. He stood, moved to the window, his reflection a shadow against the rain-streaked glass. Do you know what I do, Elsa? What I really do? You run. I hesitated. Businesses. Various enterprises. His laugh was bitter. I run half the criminal operations in this city. I control territory, smuggling routes, protection rackets. I've hurt people. Killed them when necessary. Do you understand what that makes me? I didn't answer. Didn't need to. I'm a monster, he said quietly. I've accepted that. But even monsters have rules. And one of mine is this. What's mine I protect. Absolutely. I'm not yours. But my voice shook. He turned, and the intensity in his gaze pinned me to the chair. You work in my house. Under my roof. That makes you mine. And someone violated that. This was insane. All of it. The hospitals, the way he was looking at me, the dangerous promise in his words. I should be terrified. I was terrified. But beneath the fear, something else stirred. Something I'd thought died the night I ran. Oh. They'll be looking for me now, I whispered. The hospital lockdown. If they're searching records, pulling footage, he'll know where I am. Kevin's eyes narrowed. Asterisk he asterisk who. I stood on shaking legs, set the untouched whiskey down. I need to leave. Tonight. Before. You're not going anywhere. His voice brooked no argument. Not until I know what we're dealing with. You don't understand. If he finds me, let him try. 3 words. Said with absolute certainty. As if he could stop the entire world from touching me if he decided to. Why? I asked again, desperate now. Why are you doing this? He crossed the room in 3 strides, stopping close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. This close, I could see the faint stubble along his jaw, smell the cedar and smoke that clung to him. Because when you walked in here 5 months ago for your interview, he said softly, you looked like you were trying to disappear. Like if you stayed quiet enough, still enough, the world would forget you existed. And I thought. He paused, jaw tightening. I thought I recognized that look. Because I've seen it in the mirror. My breath caught. You want to be invisible, he continued. But Dimitri's put an end to that. By tomorrow, every player in this city will know you matter to me. They'll wonder why. They'll see you as a weakness. Then I really need to leave. No. His hand caught my chin, gentle but firm, forcing me to hold his gaze. You're going to stay. You're going to let me protect you. And you're going to tell me everything about whoever you're running from. And if I refuse... His thumb brushed across my cheekbone, and I shivered despite myself. Then I'll have my men search every hospital in a 100-mile radius until I find the answer myself. Your choice, Elsa. The easy way or my way. I searched his face for mercy and found only determination. Kevin Roper had decided I was his to protect, and nothing I said would change that. The question was whether his protection would save me or destroy me. Outside, thunder rolled across the city. By morning, every hospital would be under his control. By dawn, the entire criminal underworld would know. The invisible maid wasn't invisible anymore. And the man asking, "Who touched you?" was the most dangerous man in the city. His name, I whispered, finally surrendering, was Daniel. And he's the reason I'm not Nurse Delgado anymore. Kevin's eyes darkened with promise. "Tell me everything." I did. Kevin's private dining room was smaller than I expected. Intimate. A table set for two, candles casting shadows across white linen. I stood in the doorway in my maid's uniform, feeling the wrongness of it all. "Sit, Elsa." He'd changed from his suit into something more casual. Dark shirt, sleeves rolled to reveal the ink that disappeared beneath fabric. More dangerous this way. Less businessman, more predator. Set. A plate appeared before me, delivered by Marcus, who vanished as silently as he'd come. Chicken. Roasted vegetables. Food I couldn't imagine eating. "You're not hungry." Kevin cut into his own meal with surgical precision. "I don't understand why I'm here." "Because we need to discuss your situation." He set down his fork, reached for a folder I hadn't noticed. "Daniel Reeves. Former pharmaceutical sales representative. Met you at St. Mary's 3 years ago. Married you 6 months later." My blood turned to ice. "How did you?" "Hospitalized you twice. Once for a fall down the stairs. Once for a car accident." His voice remained clinical, but his jaw tightened. "The ER reports were very thorough. Dr. Chen suspected abuse. You declined to press charges both times." "Stop." He filed a missing persons report 8 months ago. Very concerned husband. Kevin's eyes met mine. "But you're not missing. You're hiding." And my hospital lockdown just sent up a flare telling him exactly where to look. The room spun. I gripped the table's edge. "You don't know what he's capable of." "I know exactly what he's capable of." Kevin slid a photograph across the table. Daniel. Standing outside a building I recognized. This building. He's been watching the mansion for 2 days. Nausea clawed up my throat. "Then I need to leave. Tonight. Before. You need to stay." He leaned back studying me. "But not as my maid." "What?" "Tomorrow, I'm attending a charity gala. The Volkov family will be there. Dmitri will make his move. Political, social, doesn't matter. He'll try to undermine me over what happened." Kevin's fingers drummed the table. "But if you're there." My side. Wearing my ring. Understanding crashed over me. "You want me to pretend? To be my fiancé?" "Yes." "That's insane. That's protection." He stood, circled the table until he was behind my chair. Close enough that I could feel the heat of him. "The criminal world respects possession. If you're mine publicly, Daniel becomes a threat to my reputation. The Volkovs can't touch you without starting a war. You'd be untouchable." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. My hand shook as I opened the message. "I know where you are, Elsa. We need to talk." "Daniel." The words blurred as tears pricked my eyes. He'd found me. Just like Kevin said he would. Kevin read over my shoulder. His hand settled on mine, warm and steady. "Let me protect you." "At what cost?" I whispered. "My freedom. Trading one prison for another. Your life." He crouched beside my chair, forcing me to meet his eyes. "He'll kill you eventually. You know that. But if you're my fiancé, you're under my protection. Women. My resources." "And what do you get?" Something flickered in his expression. "The Volkovs respect strength. Showing them I value you enough to claim you publicly. That's strength. Plus." He hesitated. I keep you alive. Another text buzzed. Tomorrow. The coffee shop on 5th. Come alone. Kevin plucked the phone from my nerveless fingers. You're not going anywhere near him. But you need to decide. Tonight. Be my fiancé or disappear again. Your choice. I looked at the man crouching before me. Tattooed hands, dark eyes, the capacity for violence written into every line of his body. Then at my phone, at Daniel's threats made real. Some choices weren't choices at all. What do I have to do? My voice barely rose above a whisper. Kevin's smile was sharp as a blade. Trust me. The East Wing was a world away from the servants' quarters. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked gardens I'd only seen from a distance. A bed large enough to sleep for. A closet the size of my old apartment. Your things have been moved. Kevin stood in the doorway, watching me take it all in. If you need anything else. I don't have things. The words came out sharper than intended. I left everything when I ran. He nodded once. That changes now. A woman appeared behind him. Late 50s, warm eyes, sensible shoes. She smiled at me like I wasn't standing in the middle of a gilded cage. Elsa, this is Mrs. Chen. She manages the household staff. We've met. Mrs. Chen's voice was gentle. Though I suppose I should start calling you Miss Delgado now. Or perhaps Mrs. Roper, soon enough. The fake title settled over me like a shroud. I forced a smile. Elsa is fine. Mrs. Chen will help you prepare for tonight's gala, Kevin said. Hair, makeup, wardrobe. Everything you need. I don't know how to be. I gestured helplessly at the opulence surrounding us. This. Any of this. Then learn. Not unkind but firm. You're not my maid anymore, Elsa. You're my fiancé. People will be watching, judging, looking for cracks. After he left, Mrs. Chen guided me to the vanity. In the mirror I barely recognized myself. 5 months of scrubbing floors had left me hollow-eyed, thin. The frightened ghost of Nurse Delgado. Let's start with something simple, Mrs. Chen said, pulling out a black dress. Simple. Elegant. The kind of thing that cost more than I used to make in a month. Tonight isn't about transformation. It's about confidence. I don't feel confident. Then fake it. She met my eyes in the mirror. That's what survival looks like sometimes, dear. Hours blurred together. Hair pinned up, exposing the column of my neck. Makeup that concealed the shadows under my eyes but left me looking natural. The dress that fit like it had been made for my body. Knock. Kevin entered without waiting for permission and stopped. Christ, he breathed. Heat crawled up my neck. Is it wrong? I can change. It's perfect. He crossed the room, pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. But you're missing something. The ring inside caught the lamplight. Platinum band. A diamond that could probably pay off a mortgage. Too much. Too real. Kevin, I can't. It's a prop. But his hands were gentle as he slid it onto my finger. Nothing more. The weight felt like a shackle. Like a promise. Like a lie I'd have to live. Tonight you stay close to me, he said, still holding my hand. You smile. You let me touch you, nothing inappropriate, just enough. Dimitri will be watching. So will his family. They need to believe this. And Daniel. His jaw tightened. If he's there, he won't get within 10 feet of you. Mrs. Chen cleared her throat. Perhaps Miss Delgado should practice. How she'll introduce herself. How she'll stand. Kevin nodded. Show me. I straightened, lifted my chin. Tried to channel the woman I used to be. Before fear taught me to make myself small. I'm Elsa Delgado. Kevin's fiancé. No. He stepped closer, adjusted my shoulders. You're Elsa. You don't apologize with your posture. You don't shrink. Look at me. I did. His eyes were dark, intense. Say it again. I'm Elsa Delgado. Stronger this time. Kevin's fiancé. Something shifted in his expression. Approval maybe. Or something more dangerous. Better. But you need to believe it. Even if it's temporary. Even if it's fake. Because if they sense weakness, if they see you as a maid playing dress-up, this protection means nothing. The ring caught the light as I touched it. Heavy. Real. A beautiful lie. Then I'll learn, I whispered. How to be her. This version of me. Kevin's thumb brushed my wrist. Just above my racing pulse. Good. Because we leave in an hour. The woman in the mirror looked back at me. Elegant. Composed. Nothing like the terrified maid who'd served coffee yesterday. But beneath the dress and makeup and diamond, I was still running. The only difference now. I was running toward something instead of away. The ballroom glittered like a jewelry box. Crystal chandeliers. Designer gowns. Politicians shaking hands with criminals, both pretending the other was legitimate. Kevin's hand rested on the small of my back, proprietary and warm through the thin fabric of my dress. Breathe, he murmured. You look terrified. I am terrified. Good. So is everyone else. They just hide it better. His fingers pressed gently, steadying me. Stay close. Eyes tracked us across the marble floor. Whispers followed like a wake. I caught fragments. Didn't know Roper was engaged. Where did she come from? Look at that ring. The diamond on my finger felt like a spotlight. Dimitri appeared near the bar, champagne in hand. His smile was all teeth when he saw me. Kevin. And you're lovely, maid. How unexpected. Fiancé. Kevin's voice dropped to something dangerous. Perhaps you didn't hear the announcement. Oh, I heard. Dimitri's gaze traveled over me, assessing. Fascinating how quickly circumstances change. One day she's cleaning toilets. The next, she's wearing Cartier. Kevin moved, positioning himself between us. Careful, Dimitri. You already made one mistake. Don't make another. The Russian's smile never wavered, but something cold flickered in his eyes. The Volkov family doesn't forget insults, Kevin. Neither do our allies. He melted into the crowd. My hand shook. Kevin caught one, raised it to his lips. The gesture looked tender, romantic. But his words were pure calculation. Good. Let him be angry. Everyone needs to see that touching you has consequences. Flash of light. Cameras. A reporter materialized with a microphone. Mr. Roper. Is it true? Are the rumors about your engagement true? Kevin pulled me closer. His arm sliding around my waist. Gentlemen, this is Elsa Delgado. My fiancé. More flashes. Questions pelting like rain. How did you meet? When's the wedding? The attention was suffocating, but Kevin handled it smoothly, deflecting, controlling the narrative, making me real to the watching world. Then I saw him. Daniel. Standing near the entrance in an ill-fitting suit. Eyes locked on me with an intensity that turned my blood to ice. He'd found his way in. Of course he had. Daniel always found a way. Kevin felt me stiffen. What is it? He's here. Kevin's gaze swept the room, predatory and precise. Found Daniel. His expression went cold as winter. Marcus. His head of security appeared like a shadow. Sir. The man by the entrance. Dark suit, brown hair. Get him out. I don't care how. Kevin, my voice cracked. He'll cause a scene. He'll tell everyone I'm mine. Kevin turned me to face him, both hands framing my face. To anyone watching, it looked intimate. Private moment between lovers. But his eyes were sharp, focused. You're mine now, Elsa. He doesn't get to touch you. He doesn't get to speak to you. He doesn't even get to breathe the same air. His lips brushed my forehead. Gentle. Possessive. Claiming me in front of the entire room. When I looked again, Marcus had Daniel by the arm, steering him toward the exit. Daniel's face twisted with rage. He shouted something I couldn't hear over the music, but I read his lips. This isn't over. Eyes on me. Kevin's thumb traced my jaw. Not him. Me. Another flash. The photographer captured us. Kevin's hands on my face. His body angled protectively, the ring catching light. Tomorrow's headlines would write themselves. The city knows now, Kevin said quietly, lowering his hands but keeping me close. You're under my protection. Publicly. Permanently. There's no going back. A man approached. Silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of polish that came with old money. He smiled, but his eyes remained calculating. Kevin. I heard congratulations were in order. Richard Thornton. Kevin's voice cooled several degrees. Unexpected to see you here. Governor Mitchell and I go way back. Thornton's gaze slid to me, assessing. And you must be the remarkable woman who's finally tamed Kevin Roper. Tell me, Miss Delgado, how does a maid catch a king? The question landed like a slap. Around us, conversations paused. Waiting. Watching to see if I'd crumble. Smiled. Let my fingers trail across Kevin's chest, possessive and sure. By being worth catching, Mr. Thornton. Kevin's answering smile was predatory. Proud. Interesting, Thornton murmured. Very interesting indeed. He walked away, and Kevin's hand found mine. Squeezed once. Perfect, he breathed. You're perfect. But as we moved through the crowd, playing our roles, I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd just painted a target on both our backs. I found him in the library past midnight, still wearing his tuxedo shirt, sleeves rolled up, tie discarded. A tumbler of whiskey sat untouched beside him as he stared into the dying fire. Can't sleep either? Asked from the doorway. He looked up, surprise flickering across his face. You should be resting. Tonight was a performance. I moved into the room, my silk robe whispering against marble. I keep seeing Daniel's face. The way he looked at me. Marcus has men watching your old apartment. The hospital. Every place he might go. Kevin gestured to the chair opposite. He won't get near you. I sat, drawing my knees up. The fire cast shadows across Kevin's face, making him look younger, almost vulnerable. You didn't have to do all this. The gala, the ring, the protection. I'm nobody. You're not nobody. He reached for the whiskey, then pushed it away. My mother used to say that she was nobody. Just a maid in my grandfather's house. My breath caught. Your mother was a servant. Yes. His jaw tightened. My father was the heir to the Roper Empire. He got her pregnant. Promised to marry her. Instead, his family paid her off. Tried to make her disappear. What happened? She refused the money. Me. Raised me in the kitchens and servant quarters of the very house where my father lived with his legitimate wife. He laughed, bitter and raw. I watched her scrub the floors he walked on. Serve dinners she'd never be invited to eat. Be invisible. Kevin. She died when I was 16. Heart attack while cleaning the ballroom. His hands curled into fists. They didn't even stop the party. Just stepped over her and kept dancing. The pain in his voice was a physical thing. I understood suddenly why he'd reacted so violently to Dmitri, why he'd locked down every hospital, why he looked at me like I mattered. "Is that why you asked who touched me?" I whispered. "Because nobody asked about her." "Maybe." He met my eyes. "Or maybe because I see her in you." That look of trying to disappear. Like if you're quiet enough, small enough, the world will forget you exist and you'll finally be safe. Tears burned my throat. Daniel used to say I was dramatic. That the bruises weren't that bad. That I was lucky he loved me enough to correct my mistakes. My voice cracked. I started believing him. That I deserved it. That I was. "Don't." Kevin was suddenly beside me, kneeling like he had at dinner. "Don't finish that sentence. How do you stop believing it?" The words tumbled out. "That you're worthless. That you deserve the pain." His hands found mine warm and steady. "You find someone who shows you different. Who proves that you matter. Who makes the world acknowledge your existence instead of letting you disappear. Through violence." I looked at our joined hands. "Through hospital lockdowns and threats. Through whatever it takes." But his voice softened. "Though I'm learning there might be other ways. Harder ways." "Like what?" "Like asking instead of taking. Like protection without possession." He touched the ring on my finger. "This was supposed to be a prop show. But sitting here with you, I keep forgetting it's fake." My heart stuttered. "Kevin, I won't hurt you, Elsa." Not like he did. Not like. He swallowed hard. Not like my father hurt my mother by making her invisible. "See you. Every day I've seen you. Even when you were just my maid. That's what terrifies me." My voice barely rose above a whisper. Being seen. Because being seen by Daniel meant being controlled. Being destroyed. "Then let me show you different." His forehead pressed against our joined hands. "Let me prove that being seen can mean being protected. Valued. Safe." The fire crackled. Outside, rain began again, gentle against the windows. We sat there in the dying light, two broken people holding each other's damaged pieces. "Tell me something," I finally said. "Something true." Kevin raised his head, dark eyes reflecting firelight. "I'm terrified I'll fail you. That I'll become my father. That my protection will turn into a cage. Then we make a promise." I squeezed his hands. "You don't cage me. I don't disappear. We stay visible to each other." His smile was small, genuine. "Deal." But as we sat there, neither of us mentioned the obvious. Some promises were easier to make than keep. The alarm shattered the 3 a.m. silence like breaking glass. I bolted upright, heart hammering, as red emergency lights flooded my room. Footsteps thundered in the hallway. Shouting. The unmistakable sound of weapons being drawn. My door flew open. Kevin, gun in hand, still wearing yesterday's clothes. His eyes found me in the dark, wild with something that looked like fear. "Get up. Now." "What's happening?" "Someone breached the perimeter." He crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed my robe, thrust it at me. "East Gate. They're inside." My hands shook as I pulled the robe on. "Daniel." "Don't know yet." He gripped my arm, not rough but urgent. "But I'm not taking chances. You're coming with me." The hallway was chaos. Security personnel in tactical gear. Mrs. Chen herding staff toward the safe room. Marcus barking orders into his radio. Kevin pulled me through it all. his body angled protectively between me and every threat. "Sir." Marcus intercepted us. "We've got him." Maintenance entrance. He had a key card. Kevin's face went cold. "Show me." The security office was cramped, monitors showing every angle of the mansion. On screen 3, a man in handcuffs. Young. Terrified. One of the gardeners I'd seen pruning roses last week. "Thomas." Kevin's voice could have cut steel. "How long have you worked for me?" The young man's voice cracked through the speakers. 2 years, Mr. Roper." "I swear I didn't want to." "Who paid you?" Silence. Kevin's gun appeared in his hand. He didn't point it. Didn't need to. "I'll ask once more. Wait. You, a man, showed up at my sister's school." Thomas was crying now. "Said he'd hurt her if I didn't help him get inside. Said he just wanted to talk to someone. Woman. Dark hair." He showed me a picture. My stomach dropped. "Daniel." Kevin's hand found mine. Squeezed once. Then he looked at Marcus. "Sweep every room. Every closet. Every shadow. Find him." "Already on it." "But sir." Marcus hesitated. "We found something else. The staff quarters. Miss Delgado's old room. Someone's been in there. Recently." The world tilted. My old room. The tiny space where I'd hidden for 5 months, believing I was safe. Daniel had been there. Touching my things. Learning my routines. "How long?" Kevin's voice was deadly quiet. "At least a week. Maybe longer." "A week." Kevin turned to me. "He's been inside for a week, and we didn't know." "I'm sorry." The words felt hollow. "This is my fault. If I hadn't come here." "Stop." He pulled me against his chest, and I realized I was shaking. "This is his fault. Not yours. Never yours." A commotion erupted from the monitors. Guards dragging someone through the east corridor. Daniel. Fighting like a wild thing, screaming my name. "Elsa. Elsa, I know you're watching." Kevin's arms tightened around me. "Don't look." But I couldn't stop. Daniel's face filled the screen, twisted with rage and something worse. Session. "You think you can hide with him? You're mine. You'll always be mine." Marcus appeared on screen, struck him once. Daniel crumpled. "Get him off my property." Kevin's voice was arctic. "And make sure he understands. If he comes back, I won't be merciful." After Marcus left, silence pressed down like a weight. Kevin finally loosened his grip, but didn't let go completely. "You're moving into my wing. Tonight." "Kevin." He got past 3 layers of security. Corrupted my staff. Spent a week learning this house. His jaw clenched. "The East Wing isn't safe. You'll stay in my quarters. Adjoining rooms. My men outside your door. No arguments." "That's not, we agreed no cages." "This isn't a cage." He cupped my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. "This is survival." He's escalating, Elsa. Next time he won't come to talk. Fear crystallized in my chest. "He said Ryan's school. He knows about your nephew." Kevin's expression turned murderous. "I'll handle it." "How?" "By killing him. If necessary." No hesitation. No remorse. To keep you safe. To keep Ryan safe. Yes. I should have been horrified. Should have pulled away. Instead, I leaned into his hands, into the promise of violence wielded for protection. "Okay," I whispered. "Your wing." "But Kevin, what happens when this fake engagement starts feeling real?" His thumb traced my cheekbone. "Maybe it already does." Dawn broke over the mansion. By sunrise, I'd moved into the room next to Kevin's, separated by a single door neither of us locked. The cage was closing. But for the first time I wasn't sure I wanted to escape. Kevin spread the documents across his desk like a surgeon laying out instruments. Financial records, bank statements, email transcripts. 3 years of Daniel's life, dissected and displayed. Your ex-husband is a thief. He tapped a highlighted section. Pharmaceutical kickbacks. Insurance fraud. He's been embezzling from St. Mary's Hospital since before you even met him. I leaned over his shoulder, my nurse's training kicking in as I scanned the numbers. These medications, they're chemotherapy drugs. Expensive ones. He was diverting them, selling them to private clinics at markup. Kevin's finger traced a pattern through the transactions. The hospital suspected but couldn't prove it. Until you. My stomach twisted. What do you mean? You filed incident reports. 4 times in your last 6 months there. Discrepancies in medication counts. Missing doses. He pulled up another file. You were building a case without realizing it. The memory surfaced. Daniel's rage when I'd mentioned the reports to him. How he'd called me paranoid, controlling, trying to sabotage his career. The first time he'd hit me, he'd screamed that I was destroying their future. He wasn't angry because I was wrong, I whispered. He was angry because I was right. And when you got too close to exposing him, he made sure you'd never be credible. Kevin's voice gentled. The abuse, the hospitalizations, painting you as unstable. If you'd reported him, who would believe the wife with a history of falls and accidents? Rage burned through my chest, hot and clarifying. He destroyed me to protect himself. Yes, but now we destroy him back. Kevin turned to face me. This evidence goes to the FBI. Federal charges. He'll spend the next decade in prison. Maybe longer. When? After the engagement party. Saturday night. His hand found my waist, casual now, natural. We'll announce it there. Let him see you one last time, safe, protected beyond his reach. Then Marcus delivers the files Monday morning. The engagement party. But the next performance in our elaborate show. Except lately the show felt less like pretending. About the party. I worried the ring on my finger. Your business associates will be there. The Volkovs. People who know this isn't real. They know it started as arrangement. Kevin's thumb traced circles on my hip. They don't know what it's become. My breath caught. And what has it become? He studied my face like he was memorizing it. You tell me, Elsa. When you wake up and my door's open and I'm already awake listening to make sure you're breathing. Is that fake? When I spend 3 hours reviewing security footage because I need to know you're safe. Is that fake? Kevin. When you bring me coffee at 2 a.m. because you heard me working and you know I forget to eat when I'm focused? He cupped my face. When you rearranged my medication cabinet by drug class because alphabetical makes no clinical sense. Is that fake? Tears pricked my eyes. I don't know how to do this. How to trust that it's real. Then don't trust it yet. Just. He pressed his forehead to mine. Show up Saturday. Wear the dress Mrs. Chen picked. Stand beside me. Let me introduce you as mine. Not as a prop. Not as protection. As someone I choose. And if Daniel's there, he won't get within 100 feet. Marcus has triple security. Plus. A dark smile curved his lips. I'm announcing his arrest. Federal agents will be waiting outside. He crashes the party, he goes directly to jail. I laughed despite myself. That's terrifyingly efficient. I have my moments. He kissed my forehead, gentle and devastating. Trust me. I thought about the documents spread across his desk. Evidence he'd gathered to protect me. To give me justice. About the unlocked door between our rooms. About waking in the night to find him standing in the doorway. Just watching, making sure I was safe. I'm starting to, I admitted. Good. He straightened, all business again, but his hand stayed on my waist. Now about Saturday. The guest list includes some dangerous people. You'll need to charm them. Make them believe I belong. Smiled. I'm learning, remember? How to be visible without being destroyed. You're a fast learner. Pride colored his voice. Though if anyone makes you uncomfortable, you'll destroy them. Yes, I know. I touched his chest, felt his heart beating steady beneath my palm. But maybe let me try words first. Before the violence. He caught my hand, pressed it firmer against his heart. Deal. Words first. Violence second. Progress, I murmured. With you. His smile was soft, genuine, nothing like the cold mask he showed the world. Always. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. And for the first time since I'd run, I wasn't counting down to survival. I was counting up to something that looked dangerously like hope. The mansion transformed for the engagement party. White roses everywhere. Champagne towers. String quartet playing in the corner. 200 guests in designer clothes. Celebrating a relationship that started as a lie but somewhere along the way became something I couldn't name. Kevin's hand rested on my lower back as we descended the grand staircase. I wore emerald silk that Mrs. Chen insisted matched my eyes. The ring caught every light, throwing rainbows across marble. Breathe, Kevin murmured. You look stunning. I looked terrified. That too. His thumb traced circles through the silk. But they don't need to know that. Dmitri watched from near the bar. His expression calculating. The Volkovs had sent a contingent, testing whether Kevin's protection was real or performance. Marcus and his team lined the perimeter, invisible but present. And somewhere outside, FBI agents waited for Daniel's inevitable appearance. Richard Thornton arrived fashionably late, his wife Margaret on his arm. She wore pearls and a smile that never reached her cold blue eyes. Kevin stiffened beside me. The Thorntons, he said quietly. Richard controls half the city council. Margaret controls Richard. Mr. Roper. Richard's handshake was firm, assessing. Quite the celebration. Though I must admit, the engagement came as a surprise to many of us. Love often does. Kevin pulled me closer. Richard, Margaret. My fiancée, Elsa Delgado. Margaret's gaze traveled over me like I was livestock at auction. How? Unexpected. And what did you say you do, dear? I didn't. Kept my voice steady. But I was a trauma nurse at St. Mary's. Was. Her smile sharpened. Past tense. How unfortunate. Kevin's hand tightened on my waist. Warning or support I couldn't tell. If you'll excuse us, Richard interrupted smoothly. Kevin, might I borrow you for a moment? Business that won't wait. Kevin looked at me. He nodded. He kissed my temple, gentle, possessive, then followed Richard toward the library, leaving me alone with Margaret Thornton and her predatory smile. So, she sipped her champagne. A nurse who became a maid who's now marrying Kevin Roper. Quite the trajectory. Mrs. Thornton. Let me guess. You got yourself in some trouble. Needed protection. And Kevin, always the hero for broken things, swept in to save you. Her voice dripped poison. How very romantic. Other guests were watching now. Whispers spreading like contagion. You don't know anything about me, I said quietly. Oh, but I do. Richard makes it his business to know everything about Kevin's associates. She leaned closer. We know about Daniel Reeves. About the hospitalizations. About you running away like a frightened child. My blood turned to ice. We know you're using Kevin. That this engagement is a sham. That you're nothing but a gold-digging little whore who... Finish that sentence. Kevin's voice cut through the room like a blade. He'd returned, Richard trailing behind looking uncomfortable. But Kevin's attention was laser-focused on Margaret. I said finish it. He moved to my side. His presence a wall of controlled fury. You were about to call my fiancée a whore. In my home. At our engagement party. Please. Continue. Margaret paled. Kevin, I didn't mean. Yes, you did. He turned to Richard. Is this the business you wanted to discuss? Sending your wife to insult Elsa while you attempted to negotiate my cooperation with your council agenda. Richard's jaw tightened. Kevin, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. Kevin's smile was knife-sharp. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. You're going to withdraw your opposition to my waterfront development. And you're going to make sure everyone in this room knows that Elsa is under my protection. Permanently. And if we refuse... Margaret's voice shook. Kevin pulled out his phone, showed them the screen. Documents. Photos. Then these photos of your sons. Extracurricular activities. Go to every newspaper in the city. Along with the financial records showing Richard's offshore accounts. Margaret's face went white. Your choice, Kevin said pleasantly. Apologize to Elsa and leave quietly. Or destroy your family's reputation. I have the FBI on speed dial. They're very interested in tax evasion. Richard grabbed his wife's arm. We're leaving. Apologize first. Margaret looked at me, hatred burning in her eyes. I apologize. To her face. Use her name. I apologize, Miss Delgado. Which word cost her? I was out of line. Kevin nodded once. Marcus will show you out. The room erupted in whispers as the Thorntons were escorted away. Kevin turned to me, cupped my face. Are you all right? I was shaking. You just made enemies of the most powerful family in the city. No. He kissed my forehead. I just showed everyone what happens when they threaten what's mine. A commotion at the entrance. Daniel, fighting past security, wild-eyed and desperate. Elsa. Kevin positioned himself between us. Right on time. Marcus, the FBI. Already here, sir. Daniel lunged. Kevin caught him by the throat. Slammed him against the wall with controlled violence. You're done, Kevin said quietly. The evidence goes to the FBI tonight. You'll never touch her again. Federal agents poured through the door. Daniel screamed as they dragged him away, but Kevin never took his eyes off me. It's over, he said. He's over. And as the party resumed around us, I finally believed him. The terrace was quiet after the chaos. Below, the last guests trickled out, their whispers about the night's drama trailing behind them. I stood at the railing, champagne untouched, watching city lights blur through unshed tears. You should be celebrating. Kevin's voice came soft behind me. Should I? I didn't turn around. Daniel's arrested. The Thorntons humiliated. Your point proven. Mission accomplished. That's not why I did it. Wasn't it? The words came sharper than intended. You wanted to show everyone what happens when they threaten your property. Well, message received. The whole city knows now. Silence. Then his jacket settled around my shoulders, warm and smelling of cedar. Richard called an hour ago. Kevin moved to stand beside me. Agreed to all my terms. Waterfront development approved. Council opposition withdrawn. And he's pulling strings to make sure Daniel's charges stick. Federal prison. Minimum 15 years. Good. My voice cracked. That's good. There's more. He hesitated. Daniels agreed to a deal. Pleading guilty in exchange for witness protection relocation. Canada probably. He'll be gone. Completely. You'll never have to look over your shoulder again. The relief should have overwhelmed me. Instead, I felt hollow. So that's it. The deal worked. You got what you wanted, I'm safe, and now we can, what? Announce the engagement was a mistake. Part ways. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want. I spun to face him. For 5 months, I wanted to be invisible. Then you made me visible. Made me yours. Made me believe that maybe. I choked on the words. And now it's over. The threat's gone. You don't need a fake fiancé anymore. Kevin's jaw tightened. You think that's what this is? Still. What else would it be? How about terrified? His hands gripped the railing, knuckles white. How about I spent 3 weeks investigating your ex-husband not because I needed leverage, but because I couldn't sleep knowing he was out there? How about I threatened the most powerful family in the city because hearing Margaret call you a whore made me want to burn their world down? My breath caught. You want truth, Elsa. Here it is. He turned to face me fully. That first day in the library when Dimitri touched you, something broke in me. I've hurt people. Killed them. But I've never felt rage like that. Never wanted to destroy someone just for putting their hands on what's. On whose? Yours, I whispered. Mine, he confirmed. But not like property. Not like territory. Like. He reached up, cupped my face with shaking hands. Like the only thing in this godforsaken world that makes me feel human. Tears spilled over. Kevin. I know this started fake. I know you needed protection and I don't even know what I needed. But somewhere between the hospital lockdown and the unlocked doors and you reorganizing my medication cabinet at 2 a.m., it stopped being pretend. His thumb caught a tear. For me at least. If it's still pretend for you. Kissed him. Closed the distance between us and pressed my lips to his, tasting champagne and desperation and 3 months of almost touches. He froze for a heartbeat. Then his arms came around me, pulling me close, anchoring me against the storm of everything we'd been holding back. When we broke apart, breathless, his forehead rested against mine. Not pretend, I managed. Not anymore. Thank God. His laugh was shaky. Because I was running out of rational arguments for why you should stay. How about this one? I touched his face, traced the scar through his eyebrow. I don't want to leave. I don't want to be invisible. I want to be visible with you. To you. As terrifying as that is. It terrifies me too. His hands slid into my hair. I don't know how to do this without breaking you. Then we learned together. I smiled against his lips. Words first, violence second, remember? Deal. He kissed me again, softer this time. Slower. Like we had all the time in the world. Though I'm keeping the ring. This one's real now. Possessive. Always. But his smile was tender. Is that a problem? Thought about it. About cages and protection, about being seen and staying visible, about choosing to stay instead of being trapped. No, I said finally. Not when I'm equally possessive of you. His answering smile could have lit the city. Then let's try this. For real. No more pretending. Below us, the last car pulled away. The party was over. But standing on the terrace with Kevin's arms around me and his ring on my finger, I realized something was just beginning. Something real. Something chosen. Something worth the risk of being seen. Morning light filtered through Kevin's bedroom windows. Our bedroom now, as I woke wrapped in his arms. No wall between us. No pretense. Just the steady rhythm of his breathing and the weight of a choice I'd made freely. You're awake. His voice rumbled against my back. Thinking. I traced patterns on his forearm. About last night. About everything that's changed. Regrets. Something vulnerable flickered in his tone. Not one. I turned to face him. Though I should probably call Mrs. Chen. Tell her she can move the rest of my things from the guest room. His smile was soft, genuine. Already done. She had them moved at 3 a.m. said something about finally. And, took you long enough. I laughed. She knew before we did. Everyone knew before we did. He kissed my forehead. Marcus threatened to intervene if I didn't tell you how I felt. Exact words were, watching you two dance around each other is painful, boss. Speaking of painful, I sat up, pulling the sheet with me. We should talk about the future. The real one. Kevin propped himself on one elbow, attentive. I'm listening. I want to go back to nursing. The words came easier than expected. Not hiding this time. I want to work at the community clinic on 5th Street. The one that serves your territory. The clinic that's chronically underfunded and barely functional. The one that desperately needs a trauma nurse who understands the world its patients come from. I met his eyes. I can help people, Kevin. The way I couldn't help myself. The way you helped me. He studied my face, then nodded slowly. I'll make calls. Get you whatever resources you need. Equipment. Funding. I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's investment. His hand found mine. In the community. In you. In the future we're building. A knock interrupted us. Marcus's voice came through the door. Sir. You have a visitor. Says it's urgent. Kevin frowned. Who? Margaret Thornton. We exchanged glances. I pulled on Kevin's shirt, possessive and comfortable, while he dressed. Downstairs, Margaret waited in the foyer, looking diminished without her usual armor of pearls and superiority. Mrs. Thornton. I descended the stairs, Kevin's hand at my back. This is unexpected. Miss Delgado. Kevin. She clutched her purse like a lifeline. I came to apologize. Properly. What I said at the party was inexcusable. Yes, it was. I didn't soften my tone. Richard told me about the deal. About everything Kevin could have exposed but chose not to. Her voice cracked. My son made mistakes. We all have. But you showed mercy when you could have destroyed us. Kevin's hand tightened on my waist. The mercy was Elsa's idea. Not mine. Margaret looked at me with something like respect. Then thank you. Both of you. And congratulations. On your engagement. The real one. After she left, I leaned into Kevin. You would have ruined them. Without hesitation. No apology in his voice. But you asked me to try words first. So I did. Progress, I murmured, echoing our library conversation. With you. Always. Later we sat in his study, our study, planning. The clinic expansion. A small wedding, intimate rather than performative. How to navigate his world without losing myself. How to Love Without Possession. I have something for you. Kevin pulled out a folder. Deed to the brownstone on Maple Street. 2 blocks from the clinic. It's yours. Your space. So you always have somewhere that's just yours. Tears pricked my eyes. Kevin, you chose to move into my room. I want you to choose every day. Which means you need the freedom to leave. His voice roughened. Even if the thought terrifies me. I kissed him slow and deep. I'm not going anywhere. But thank you. For understanding what I need. Always. He pulled me into his lap. Though I have conditions. Of course you do. You keep the ring. You let me walk you to work. And you come home to me every night. Deal. I rested my forehead against his. On one condition of my own. Name it. You let me love you. All of you. The violence and the gentleness. The monster and the man. His arms tightened around me. That's a dangerous thing to offer. Good thing I like danger. I smiled against his lips. I fell for a mafia boss, remember? No. His kiss was tender, devastating. You fell for me. There's a difference. Outside, the city woke to news of Daniel's arrest, the Thorntons' humiliation, and Kevin Roper's engagement to the woman who'd changed everything. But inside, wrapped in each other, we were just 2 broken people who'd learned that being seen didn't mean being destroyed. Meant being loved. And that was worth every risk we'd taken to get here. Thank you for experiencing Elsa and Kevin's journey from invisible to unforgettable. Watch the next story to discover another world where danger and desire collide. Until next time. Stay visible. Stay brave. Stay loved.